So Dalia, we're going to just give it 5 more minutes. I just want to give other people time to join, and then we'll start. Hi everyone, just for the new guys that joined, we just want to give it a few more minutes. We're just waiting for some people to join, then we will start the meeting. I am the B2B sales manager at TP-Link South Africa. Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us in our session today. Today we will be focusing on industrial switching. I also just want to mention there are a couple of upcoming webinars that we are planning for this quarter. Please keep just a second. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me now?
Okay.
All right. So thanks, guys. I don't know what you have heard, but let me start over. My name is Adele. I work for TP-Link South Africa. I'm the B2B sales manager here. And I just want to thank everybody on the session for joining our webinar. Today we're covering industrial switching. There's a couple of upcoming webinars for this quarter. Please keep a lookout on our socials, especially LinkedIn, but also everybody that is on the call today. We will be inviting you directly for the upcoming webinars for this quarter. The Q&A sessions, you will see there's a Q&A section on the top here there, where you can leave all your questions. We will cover all those questions and answers after the session. Our session will be covered today by Francois. He is our B2B pre-sales, and I'm going to hand over to him then. Thank you, Francois.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. As Adele mentioned, I am on the pre-sales side, and I obviously look after more the technical side of the things. Today, we're just going to be going over the industrial switches. We're going to cover it in, like reliable networking for harsh environments. So we'll just discuss all the components, as well as the models that we have and some solutions that you can actually use the equipment in. Okay, so first of all, we'll just start with what is industrial switching. Standard switches versus your industrial switches. Obviously, on the standard side, more office environment, for stable, where there is stable power, and obviously, controlled temperature. That's where, your standard switches will fit in. Industrial switches are more on the outdoor, for factories, pole mounted outside, where there's harsh environments that actually these switches will then function in. Okay, just looking at some use case scenarios that we can look at. So manufacturing and factory floors. So high heat from machinery, dust and airborne particles, those will all affect in that industry a normal switch. Same with the example, outdoor perimeter on CCTV. You don't have a switch that can handle the high temperatures of being inside a box. With the industrial switches, they run actually without fans and then use a heat sink to reduce the heat from the actual CPU, as well as the mining industry, warehousing and logistics, and transport and infrastructure, and remote off-grid locations. All of these have similar issues, mainly unstable power, harsh environments, and especially with the off-grid, our switches do actually support 12 volts, so you can power them up with solar or battery systems to actually power these outdoor switches or industrial switches, apologies. So let's look at why standard switches fail in these environments. As we mentioned, extreme temperature, switches overheat or they get really cold and freeze. With the industrial switches, you have up to a negative 40 degree to a plus 75 degree that the industrial switches can handle. On the unstable power, voltage fluctuations and brownouts, those really cause issues where your switches will, start up, start down, or shut down, and that will then cause issues going on forward. It might not the whole switch, but you'll have a few ports go dead. With the industrial switches, it takes up to a wide voltage. So not only from just, from 12 volt, it goes up to 57 volts. So it takes a high voltage, a wide voltage range. And obviously, we also have dual redundant inputs to give you that power backup. On dust and particles, obviously, if we have fans, fans get clogged with the dust, and that will actually cause the switch to fail. With industrial, there's no fans, and it is actually dust proof in a rugged design, so dust can't get into the device. Weather and moisture, obviously, if you have a switch outside, it could still cause humidity in it and corrosion, where with the industrial switches, you can just put that in a metal housing and add surge protection to it. So you're not only covering the normal standard side of, just the weather, but also surge. So you can protect against surge by mounting it onto the box. Also looking at the vibration and shock. So constant movement breaks components, where with the industrial switches, we have a vibration resistant build. So it will withstand, if it's on shaking a lot from, equipment that's running or all of that, it will actually last a lot longer. Long distance, obviously we have this with our fiber SFP's uplinks, so you can actually use this, to run the fiber long distance, and then use, for example, solar to power the switches and have a off-site kind of system running. Okay, at the moment we currently have four models that we have. We've got our two PoE models and then our two non-PoE models. We'll go through a bit more on them, but for the two PoE models, we have an 8-port and a 4-port with obviously the uplinks to SFP uplinks on both of them, as well as the non-PoE users. We also have an 8 and a 4 with the SFP uplinks. On the 8-port PoE, it does have a combo, so it will be a 8-port, and then you have your two combo ports for the SFPs as well. These are all layer 2. These are all layer 2 devices, so you can actually, configure some functionality on them to ensure that your setup is running smoothly. We have got VLAN functionality, quality of service, as well as your STP and RSTP. Just looking at some of the, as we mentioned before, the temperature can range from -40 degrees to 75 degrees. And on the power supply, we have overload current protection, as well as over voltage protection and reverse polarity protection. So the device will actually not just blow if you by accidentally switch up the polarity. It also does come with surge protection. So built into it, from the Ethernet port side, it will actually withstand up to 6 kilovolts. And from a DC input side, it will, on the input, it will then support up to 4 kilovolt. It does come with the aluminium casing. As I mentioned before, these units are designed for dust protection, and the chassis is actually built as a heat sink, so that the design will keep the devices cool without the need of a fan in the case or on the actual switch itself. As I mentioned, we do have a redundant power input, so you can actually run 2 inputs into the device. The only thing, obviously, if we are running the switch at 12 volt, you will not get the full PoE functionality or full PoE budget from the switch. You will get a set budget if you're using 12 volt, 24 volt, or 48 volt. But you can run the power on redundancy, so you can either have solar as the backup and battery as the main, or we can run 2 DIN rail power supplies for in case one does decide to stop working. We also do have a real-time fault alarm, so you can connect up into the device. It will run as a dry contact, so you can either connect up a alarm or a siren or a light to the actual device. So if one of the powers fails, it will actually then alarm like a live alarm on the device, as well as getting notifications on the app. We actually have two options on mounting the devices. We've got the DIN rail as well as the wall mount. It does come with the wall mount brackets and the DIN rail bracket for it, so it's not something that has to be purchased separately. Both of these options come in the box, and you can then decide from there what devices, how you would like to mount it. Looking at the PoE budget of these devices, if you look at the IES to 10 GP, it is gigabit ports with PoE++. So 2 of the ports will be PoE++, and then 6 of the ports will be standard PoE+. The plus rating on this is 60 watts, and that's per port. And then obviously we will have a total PoE wattage of 40 watts. This is obviously depending on how much voltage we provide to the device. With the 12 volt, you will probably get around 120 watts, and then with the 48 volt, you will then get up to the 240 watts. This device is more used for your larger scale CCTV deployments, or with obviously higher budget cameras like your PTZs, IR, and then the heaters that you need for some of the devices, big PoE hungry devices like that. We also have the 6-port, which is the IES 206 GPP, and then that device has 3 gigabit PoE plus ports and then 1 PoE plus port. The same on this one, the PoE plus will give you 60 watts, but the overall PoE budget on this one is only 120 watts, which once again will be reduced if you're using the 12 volt. This is a perfect compact solution for medium or smaller sites where you don't need as many cameras, or if you need it for smaller PoE modules that might fit into the mining equipment or factory floors. Just looking at some specific examples on the application scenarios, surveillance is one of our biggest focus in this with the industrial switches. Small commercial scenarios where actually residential areas, warehousing and parking lots. Obviously government, on the transportation or mining sector, these are where these switches will be highly recommended. Stricter working temperatures, as we've mentioned, and obviously, with the stricter protection on interference, and as well as surge protection from all the devices from outside. And you basically have a switch that will run for quite a while. Then, obviously, on the management side, we look at the Omada. This is part of the Omada series. So these can be managed from the Omada platform. For those of you who don't know, we do have a free cloud management platform, which you can add these devices to, and then you can use this to reboot cameras that are offline by rebooting the port on the switch. So you can have your full functionality if you're using our Omada standard. That will allow you to set up PoE schedule and as well as PoE auto reboot. As I mentioned with the Omada, we've got Omada Essentials, which is free to use. It does come with 80% of the standard functionalities without having to pay for the device license for our standard. We have zero-touch provisioning on this, so you can actually set up the devices and configure them without having to remove them from the box. You scan the QR code or the serial number from the device, from your phone, or add the serial number into the Omada platform, and you can configure your site before you even deploy the devices. Then, the great thing on combination is on our Omada Central. The functions and features that I will be speaking about now are part of our Omada Central. That's part of our standard solution. So these are, some of them are paid for functionalities. However, as I mentioned before, there is also a lot that you do get with the standard. Just on the CCTV, as I did mention, we do like to focus on the CCTV on this side. It is really, optimized to assist you guys with your CCTV solutions. We have the extended PoE, so up to 250 meters for PoE transmission. If it does run at 250 meters, the camera speed or the port speed will drop to 10 megs a second. So if you need to obviously use, maybe a device, 8 megapixel, it is maybe better to keep it at 150 meters. But if it is a 2 megapixel, the 250 meters will be a great solution. This will also take extra PoE budget from the switch. So extra PoE budget, that's just something to note. If you're using this, it will increase the PoE wattage and till it gets to the point where it needs to be. Obviously, as it drops off, it will then reach the required PoE wattage once it gets to the camera. That is where it obviously will use a bit more of the budget. So your other devices might then require PoE injectors or anything like that in that department. We also have one-click security and quality insurance enhancements. So QoS, quality of service. You can actually, by a click of a button, select, for quality QoS for your cameras. As with the VG and our Omada, they will actually pick up that there is a port, a camera connected to the port, and it will then automatically assign your CCTV QoS tag to that specific port. Also, just on the troubleshooting side, to save you some time and money, it eliminates the need, obviously, for other monitoring platforms where you can monitor everything from one platform. You won't have to monitor your network or your cameras from different platforms. We also do have the automatic topology. So it will actually generate a topology for you, so you can easily see what devices are connected onto what switch or where a specific camera is located. A function that is part of the Omada standard, which is license-based, is the auto PoE recovery. If a device does go offline, it will stop communicating to the switch, and then that will basically notify, and the switch will then see that and then automatically reboot the port, see if it could possibly get the camera back online. We also do have our camera offline alarm. You will get notifications as soon as the device goes offline. Any device that's on there, if it's the switch or whether it's the camera on the switch, you will get a notification to let you know that the cameras are off. We also do have access logs and alert notifications. So if it is, if you have someone that is sitting and monitoring all these notifications, you will actually get to see if they respond to these tasks by assigning them or accepting those tasks. Basically, completing it, saying, I've checked the task and it is now done. It will also give you, obviously, your visualized threats. So with Omada, we do have some IPS and IDS detection that will, instantly mitigate some certain threats of getting in the system. We also have a cable test for fault detection. And this will basically help you see if there's anything wrong on the cable. It is not a perfect solution. It basically will just give you a distance of the cable that is running from, say, the switch to the device. What it will do is it will use the resistance in the cable, so it will send out a certain amount of voltage, and once that voltage hits the other side, it will then use that to calculate the distance by using the resistance of the cables. It's not 100% accurate. However, it will give you at least an indication of what possibly could be wrong. If you look at the images there, we can actually see that the cable length shows 120 meters. If that's for an access point, obviously that wouldn't be recommended. So the system will then let you know that there is possibly something wrong on site. We also have integrated troubleshooting tools. So SSH packet capture and network diagnostics. This makes it easier for all our customers to export any logs, any diagnostics, send that through to us for us to check it and see if there's anything wrong on site. Okay.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this session. I want to open the floor now to questions and answers. I do realize that there's a little bit of a delay on the live version, so I'm going to give it a few seconds for everybody to hear me. So you're welcome to ask your questions or post your questions in that section for us. Thank you.
Okay. Does this range support fiber ring failover? It does have RSTP and STP, so yes, it will actually it will run in a ring topology, and it will basically pick up that there's a loop. It will block one port, and as soon as another point of the ring fails, it will then restore the connection to actually secure the loop in the network. Will you share the slides afterwards? Yes, we will share the slides. There will be a group basically once this is done, which will then give the presentation, and I will then share the slide to the group.
Guys, are there any more questions? All right, guys, if there's no more questions, I'm going to close the session. But before we do, I just want to make you aware of our upcoming sessions. We will also post this on our social medias, and we will send everybody that's on this call today, we will send you notifications with invites on there. You can look out for our next one, which will be the 14th of May. We will cover, Project has covered a little bit of Omada Central today, but we will cover the entire Omada Central cloud platform on the 14th of May, where we will then cover the networking side as well as the CCTV side on that. On the 28th of May, we will cover our VG on the Inside series, on our camera series, so you're welcome to join us for that one. The 4th of June, we're doing the solar camera, the solar system, so that will be an entire solar system with the panels, the batteries, as well as the cameras that can go with that. And we will cover new projects on the 5th and on the 6th, on the 18th of June and on the 25th of June, which will cover Omada new products coming and VG new products coming. I see there's another question.
Yes, okay. On the DIN interface, is it limited to 10 amp per input or combined, as you have two suppliers in for power? It is limited to 10 amps. It will run only as a failover. So if there is an issue with the first power supply, so power supply 1, power supply 2 will then just take over and give the power to the device. So it won't be used in conjunction with each other. It will basically just power both of them. It won't power them at the same time. It will fail over once the one fails.
Hi, Anton.
Okay. If that's all the questions.
We're just going to give it a few more minutes, guys, because there is a little bit of a delay. I just want to make sure we cover everything. But thank you so much for those that want to drop off. It's fine. We are going to just give it a few more minutes. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, perfect. Thank you, guys. Please be on the lookout for our emails as well as our social media posts, and then we'll see you guys in the next thing, which is next week on the 14th of May. We will be covering Omada Central, the entire range. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.